I won't take no you did hear me. Yeah, they will hear me. Just like so he wants to. Okay, good evening, everyone. So, welcome to another class today. So, as usual, we are going to begin the class by praying. Okay, Heavenly Father, we thank you for another new day. We thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for making it possible for us to see the week past and this present week. So, may your name be highly exalted in the name of Jesus. Amen. Our lectures today, the class today, we commit into your able hands. We pray that you help us, that you give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to understand and to be able to impart knowledge. That at the end of everything, that your name alone shall be highly exalted. For in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, I've prayed. Amen. Okay, today we are going to continue from where we stopped the last time, which is the array methods as usual. So we are going to continue from where we stopped, which is the array find. So the last time we talked about different array methods, which is for each. We went did mapping as well of arrays. So today we are going to continue from array.find. So class today is just going to it's not going to be a very long class. It's just we're just going to be focusing on the key things we need to know. So I'm just going to read out what we have here. As usual, we are using javascript.info. So, Okay. So here, imagine we have an array of objects. How do we find an object with with a specific condition? So, as we all know, the reasons why we have objects in array, the reasons why we are learning arrays and objects, basically it's how to get the data we store maybe on our database and this filter some data we want to give to the user. And as well, the reason for finding is in case we have a lot of data already stored in our database or in our local storage or anywhere we are storing our data, we want to kind of pick some data very easily without having to scroll all through to get that data. Okay, so as usual, we are going to be using the VS Code. So here, okay, first I would like to know if we are following the class. So if we are following the class, I would like to get an indication you can hear me properly. I don't know if anyone can hear me. Okay, okay. Let's continue. Okay, so we are going to be trying out the array.find. We are going to be using what we already have before now. So the find method is just used to search through an array. Let's say and most times like it's a callback function, like it has an argument, it takes an argument. So we know what an argument is in JavaScript. So you can see here that we are having some parameters that are being passed here, right? So all these things are I refer to them as what arguments. So it's also checks for like conditions as well. Then truthy values. So truthy values is let's say we are looking for something in an array. So let me just go to this place. So we have this array of numbers, right? And okay, let me just comment on this. So we want to find one, two, yeah, we want to find one, just an instance of how to use array.find. So just like we said, I'm just going to try out one, see what it gives to us. So yeah, I just want to do num. Okay, as we know, num is the array we already declared here, so which is an array of number. I will just want to find this. Right. So down here, I want to console log find one. So most times I like commenting beside to be able to know that yeah, this is where the console log is coming from. So find one. Finding okay. So now running this code, we have to notice two things, right? So array.find takes in different values. Okay. So earlier on I told you that there are things we have to have in mind, right? First we have the callback function, then we have the condition, then the truth value, and we have the match. So here you can see the example we have here. We have a list of users. Then down here we are having dot find item. Then here we are checking for the item dot id that equals to what one. Okay, so I'll just copy this, or we can still use this. Then here, let's say okay, let's just use the list of users. So here we want to find um, a user that is named John, right? So here we are going to say let's use const get user equal to users dot find So here we are having a callback. So a callback is a function inside of a function, right? You can just refer to it as a function inside the function. So that's what we are having here. So you can see anywhere you see an arrow function like this. So this is a callback. Okay. So here we want to have, so this must not be item, it can be anything. So users dot find, you can name it user since we are looking for a user. So dot find user. So this user is representing each of these objects inside of this array. So dot find user. So here we want to find, let's say, find user dot name equals to. So here we, I don't know if you've done comparison. So we have street comparison. So this is not a street comparison if you're having two like equal sign. When we have three equal sign is a street comparison. So it's checking for the value type, like it's checking for like the value must be the same value, right? So I think that is something we'll do maybe some other time if we front touch that. Yeah, so here we are checking if we want to find the user whose name is Beth, right? So here if we console log get user, so let me just do this. Return user. So here we'll just console log the get user. So you can see that the returned user here is what? It's 2. So we can still do same thing for this number. So as we know, this takes in a what? A callback function. So here you have to find so this is an array of number. We want to find I, right? So we want to see if I equals to 1. So I can just, so I can comment on this to see the return num. So here I can just say return num. So I will say find 1. So we'll save this, then head to our terminal once again, still run our code. So you can see that it returned 1. So this is not a straight comparison here. If I should do something like a straight comparison where I have 3 equal sign. So what this thing did here is that here is finding this, but it's like converting this one here to a number. So but here now we are going to see the difference. Right. So we can see here it's giving us what's undefined because here this is a straight comparison, 3 equal sign, right? 3 equal sign is straight comparison. So 3 equal sign is straight comparison. So when it checks for um checks for type, like the value type, then it's also case sensitive, right? So Now, if I should change this to normal one, which is a number, so we can see that what we had here before was a string. If I should change this to a number and still find this value, I'm going to see that it's going to return the value for us. Now you can see that the first one here, first value we have that returned here is 1. That's when we used the non-strict uh, comparison. That's using two equal sign. But when we use three equal sign and we have had this one in a string, it returned undefined. So now we are checking it with three equal sign and we are passing in the correct data type. Okay. So now let's run this code again. So you can see here it's returned what 1 because this is the right value. So drawing our attention to these things here, um, because most times as developers, we tend to make like mistakes of, especially when it has to do with arrays or manipulating data or trying to filter things from, let's say, from a data stream or from our database or anywhere we are getting our data from, or even from an endpoint, right? Most times we tend to make these mistakes. So things we should take in mind is when we are using array.find is now we have to like uh, make sure that the comparison type we are using, right, or the data type, are we passing the correct data type? Okay, and yeah, I think that's basically it. That we are passing in the correct data type, the correct values too. So we are passing in the values, we are passing in the data type for the values because most times JavaScript, if we don't pass strict type, most times JavaScript helps us to just compare. It helps us to compare the values and just push in some things. Let's say here is seeing a string, right? It can just convert this string when this sign is to a number just to give us the right value. And most times this can also cause issues during productions. So these are a few things we have to take in mind. Okay. So just like we saw here, so find takes in three values, right? Just like we said. Now the callback function, which is this, the index, which is the item we want to find, then true. So if true is returned, item is returned, and iteration is stopped. So it goes through the data we passed. So here you can see that it goes through these items, right? So if any of these item falls into this find, it returns the item, then the iteration is found. So now let's say I don't have this here and I run this code. So I don't have go inside of this array. There's nothing like go in this array. And I want to find go, right? And just make this. So you can see that here it's returning what undefined because it can't find what go, right? But you see what I said about the street type, but when I just had just two equal sign, it returned one for me, right? Which is a wrong, something that is wrong. It's not there, it doesn't exist in our database. So these are stuff we have to like put into considerations. Always make sure that you're using, depending on the kind of value or what you're working on, make sure you're always using the street type. Okay. Like the street comparison to make sure that yeah, you're getting the right value and the right data, and that's what you're returning to users as well to avoid errors on production too. So yeah, I think um for find, these are basically the things we can use them to do, right? So just like we have this object that has user, we can still kind of get more values out of this object, right? Just like we see on the instance here, where they just define this as user, then item.id equals to one. So here it's returning the item that the ID is equals to one. So here the item is what? An object. So let me show you what we did before. So here on our own, we try to find a user whose name is what? Um Petite, right? So when we run this, right, we return the user whose name is what? Petite. Now let's say we don't want to show everything about what Petite. Let's say we just want to show the ID of Petite, right? So here we can just say get user dot what dot ID. So returned user ID here. Okay, let me just copy this. Okay, let me copy this and paste it down so we'll be able to see. So here we just want to get or return. I want to return user ID, right? So here we can just put get user dot ID. Right. So if we run this, so you can see that this code for the first one, we are getting all the information of the user. Um, on the second line of code, we are just getting the user ID. So this can be used in like different scenarios, right? Let's say we have, okay, yeah, let me just use something that is very, very unique to us or something we can relate to. So I'm going to just do a very simple yes, I'm just going to create or I'm going to create a mock data now. Let's say mock data for the restaurant menu. So I can just select let our main let's restaurants, let us say store. Right. So let's say we have a store. Right. Let's store or let's say goods in store. So now we have a store. So we want to get goods in store. So these are the goods we have in our store. So first we have provisions, right? Okay. I don't want this to be too complex, but you can always know that we can have like um an object inside an object. So let's say we have provisions inside here. Okay. What else can we have in a store? Okay, let's say we have, let's make it simple. Let's say we have item name. Okay. Yeah. Oh, which scenario, which scenario. Okay, let's just say restaurants. Just trying to look for. So let's say this is a food store. So here we have food. So these are the foods available. So we have the name of the food. Let's say we have egusi, right? We have price for that. Let's say the price is 400. Now we can have the quantity too. Right? Quantity, let's say 90. So let's say we have orders too. Let's say we have 20 orders, right? So we want to duplicate this thing too for other kind of foods we are going to have on the restaurant menu. So let's say we have rice. Let's say the price of rice is, say this is a jollof rice. So we have jollof rice and the price is 300. Let's say the quantity is 20. We have just 10 orders. Right. Um we have we have stew. Okay. So stew and goat meat. Okay, let's just call this pepper soup, right? And let's say the price is 900. So the quantity here can be 10. Then order here can be 5, right? So we can still make this to be like enormous, right? So now let's say someone walks into a restaurant, right? And the okay, so let's call that a user order. So let's say user walks into the restaurant and the user wants to get something, right? Now, the people who are serving on people who are taking your request, they don't know like the quantity of food that is left, right? So now we are having these orders for the purpose of the manager who want to see the total orders we have in a day. And now users are also coming in and they want to know like how much of this price is remaining and what's the price. So now let's say we want to get the price. Let's get so we want to get the price of rice, get rice price, right? So now for us to get the price of rice, instead of let's say we have like a database of food or a long array that contains different kind of delicacies, right? And we just want to get the price for jollof rice. This is where find comes in, right? Now we can use find to go through the array. So what we just need to do is, as a programmer, we can even make this a function that users can just input like any value. So here, now let's get rice price, or let's just call this get item price, right? So now we want to get the item price. So here we are going to have foods dot find. So don't forget when we are using the find, you always so another thing you can make use of is this, right? You can see Yeah, so first thing we need now is the callback function, right? So we need the callback function, which I can call here food, right? Food dot find food. So these foods, we are finding the food. So we want to find food dot name, right? So we want to find the one that like food dot name is equals to what? Jollof rice, right? So console dot nuggets item price. So now when we run this, right, it returns everything for us, right, about jollof rice. But now what we just want to display is what? Just want to display the what? The just want to display the price of the jollof rice. Yeah, so here we can just do console dot log. So here dot price. Okay. So now when we run this one, so we can see that the price for jollof rice is what? 300. So if we want to spice this thing up in such a way that we don't have to always pass this, like we don't always have to like create um different functions or different find methods for jollof rice. We can spice this up by just creating a function like this that I already started here. So what do I do here? I just make this a function, right? And I create this. So here, right, we can pass a parameter. So we can call it what? Item name. Okay. So this is, I don't know if I'm going a bit off, but I'm just trying to show us, like, to give us a good illustration of how we can use all this. Right. So here now, we can just set this item name here. Okay. So anywhere we want this, you can just simply do let price, let price equal to get item price. Then what we just have to do here is if it's price we want to get, we can just pass jollof rice. So we can just call this get item. Okay, so here we are just getting the specific item. So here if I should run, so let me just call this price details. So here I can just say console.log. So here I want to say rice details. Okay. So here, let's just return rice details. So you can see that here now it has returned our what our rice details. So with this function, we can always return like any detail of our choice. So if we want to return the price of pepper soup, okay. So you can see that it's giving us what the details of what our pepper soup. So this is like exactly what we see in some of the systems that we have or systems that are running. So these methods, like we can see that they are very what they are very, very useful. So what you just need is just to kind of use your own initiative to like use all these array methods. So you can as well use like different array methods in one, right? But we are not going to be like going into all of that now. So since we are getting the like we're getting item details, right? We can now let's say we want to get the details of pepper soup, right? And now want to just get only the price. So here we can just say dot what dot price. That's pointing that we want only the price. So if we want to know if um pepper soup is remaining, we can just say dot what dot quantity. I know the quantity that is remaining there. So if we do this now, I see that it's returning us the what the quantity as what 10. So if we update this quantity from our end, so we know that we can still use an array method from let's say we have another place, we can use an array method to be updating these values too. So now we want to run this now to see. So okay, so I didn't save this. So we've updated this quantity now and it's saved. So we can see that the quantity is now what 8. Okay, so this is what array method helps us to do. Array.find helps us to do. It helps us to go through a long list and helps us to find the values we need. So the things you have to keep in mind is that first, it needs what a callback function. So you can see that this thing now is a callback, right? This is a function. You can see that this one here is just a custom function that we did already. So this is a function, and what a callback does, a callback is what a function inside what of a function. So um dot find array dot find, the first thing that like when you hear array dot find, the first thing that should come into your mind is that array dot find requires what a callback function. Okay, it requires a callback function. Then it now requires you to, depends on what you want to do with the callback function, right? Inside of the callback function you can decide to find something inside of it. Let's say if it's just an array of string, you can decide to find like the string that equals to that particular value, right? Just like the one we did here where we have a string of numbers. I want to find if this um string of if this array of numbers, I say sorry, say string of number, array of numbers, if this array of numbers has one, or if this array of number has what go inside of it. So you can see that when we ran this code the first time, right, it was giving us what undefined because we don't have go inside of what the function. Okay, so let's continue. So this is how we use find. So you can see in real life arrays of objects are common thing. So yeah, array of objects are, as long as you're a front end developer, a back end developer, um if you're working on data pipelines and the rest, as long as you're a software developer, you're always going to make use of um, an array of objects, right, to display values. So note that in the example we provide to find the function item.id equals 1 with one argument. Sorry, excuse me. With one argument that is type down. Other arguments of this function rarely used. Okay, so you can see that where is the argument? This is the argument here. So this is the argument. And this whole thing here is what the function. So the argument is this I equals to what? Like this is the argument. So an argument is what a function requires to run. So you can see that when I created this function here, right? When I created this function here, this is a parameter, right? You can see it. Okay, this is very great. You can see here when I hover on this, you can see that this is what a parameter. Now this thing, the parameter it requires is what item name. But here now, since I'm having this is what this pepper soup here is what an argument. So when you pass a parameter into a function, when you pass anything, like when a function requires something for it to work perfectly, what it requires is what an argument. But now you've passed a parameter into a function, and now for the function to run properly, it requires what an argument. So an argument is this pepper soup here. Now you're seeing is what is an argument. So for this function to run, if I should remove this pepper soup, just put this function without a string or an empty string and just run this. Let's see what is going to happen. So you can see that now this function didn't run well, right? Because it cannot run without what that argument. Because this function it requires what an argument for it to like function very well. So, but now I can put an empty string. So here now is understanding that what there is an argument already, which means I've passed in a value because this function requires a value for it to know what to return. So here I can go back and clear my terminal. If I run this thing again, you can see that here it's showing what that this right dot details quantity. Now, due to the argument that I passed here, is not seeing it, right? It's going to return what? It's going to throw an error. So most times, for you to avoid this kind of thing, you can just put what? A question mark. So this is more like a condition in case the argument that you passed here doesn't have what it's not an object. Okay, so this dot here is it's denoting that whatever this function is going to return for us is going to be what an object, and that object should have what quantity. So for us to kind of pass a condition in case what this array returns for us, this sort of our application to break, we can just put what this question mark here. So let me just clear this. Run this again. So you can see now that it's returning what's undefined. So but if I should remove this, so it returns what undefined, it doesn't throw an error. But when I pass the correct argument that this thing needs, so we've checked for pepper soup, let's just check for egusi. Right now, I'm passing the correct argument, which is egusi, because egusi is already on the list of food there. Right, so it's going to return what a proper value for us. So we can see now that we are seeing the quantity, which is what 90. Okay, so this is how what argument, or this is what argument is. So please let's put in mind that array.find needs an argument, and the argument is what a callback function. Okay, so we need a callback function inside of it. Okay, yeah, so we need a callback function, and we need like a conditional check. So just like I told you guys, like we are checking here Okay, so here we did what? Food dot name equals to what? Item name. Then here you can see that even for this list of numbers, so I did what? I equals to what? Go. So this I is representing each of these numbers here. If you can see this I here in this bracket here, this one is presenting each of this is representing one, two, three, four, five. So now we are now noting all these things as what? I. And we are searching through all these eyes to see if we can get any eye that is go. Do you get? So same thing is what we are doing here. We are representing all these objects here, all these things, one after the other. We are representing them with what? User. And now we are checking this user, which is what? All these objects here, one after the other, to see if we can see a user whose name is what? Petite, right? So if it finds a user whose name is Petite, it returns it. If it doesn't see, it shows us what? Undefined, which means there is no user whose name is what? Petite. So this is how find works. So let's just have it in mind that we need what? An argument here, which is what? A callback function. So inside that, we should also know that, like, if the callback returns what? A truth value, right? For a particular element, like whole stop, like this is what it told us here. Note in the example we provide the find function with one argument that is typical. Other argument of the functions are rarely used. So now we can use the array.find index method that has same syntax but returns the index where the element was found instead of the element itself. Okay, so let me scroll up a little bit. Now, here we want to find the index. So normally, in JavaScript, array method they start from what? Index of what? Zero. So it counts from here: zero, one, two, three. So now find index, array dot find index, right? It helps. Now it doesn't return the value itself, it just returns the index. So now I want to see the number where someone is in our database. So here, if we are using find index here, right? If we are using this as okay, let me leave this here and let me do this find user index. Okay, so here we want to find the index of what? A user. So let me just say cons find index. So I can really find index of what? Petite. So we want to know his number inside of our what? Database. So I can say users dot find. So we can let me just copy this here. Let's paste it here. Yeah. And just paste it here. So what I want to do here is what? Find index. I'll just replace this. So if I should console log the index of petite, let's see what it's going to give us. Console dot log to index of petite and array. Right. So I'll say find index of petite. So if I should run this code now, let me comment on these previous ones I console logged here. So you can see that index of petite in our array is what? 1. Now most times if we are using find index of, and maybe let's say this whole thing here, just like the way we passed ID 1, 2, 3, I want to get like the correct number of petite. right? The correct number of petits instead of getting um zero, or let's say that instead of getting one here, we want to get two, which is the actual number. That's normally we count in one, two, three, right? I want to get that one, or the direct number of petits, which is since our array counts from what, zero. The easiest way for us to just get that number counting in one, two, right? We can just add what, plus one here, right? Which is what is being omitted there, right? Because we are starting from what, zero, right? So any other number plus one will give you the actual. Like if you want to count from one to three, plus one is just going to give you the actual number of that value in that array. So if I hit this, you can see that the index of petits in the array is what, two, which is what the ID here is two. Okay. So yeah, so that would be it for array.find. So the find index helps us to get the index of what, an item in an array. So just like what we did here, we've been able to get the index. What number is petit in this array? We've been able to get that petit is what, is number two in this array. So we can pass different conditions. I think maybe as time goes on, we are going to be um handling different uh ways of looking for data, right? For data manipulations when it comes to array. Right, we are going to utilize all these array methods. Okay, so the find method looks for a singular first element that makes the function return true. If there may be many, we can use filter. Okay, the syntax is similar to find, but filter returns an array of all matching elements. So this is a very important thing we have to pinpoint at this point, right? Now let's say we have this petit is two. So let's just update this to three, and here we have four, right? So for us to do this now, let's just run this code instead of, yeah, we already have get user, right? So you're going to see that dot find returns the first true item for us, right? And then it omits the remaining. So what do I mean by this? Now we have get user here, and we have how many petits? We have two petits. Okay, for the purpose of this, let's add age, right? We have John, age, let's say 22. We have the first petit, age, right? Age is what? Let's say 20. We have the third petit, whose age is 25. 25. We have Mary, her age would be, let's say, 19. Okay, so now we want to get all the petits here, right? So find will only give us what, the first petit. Okay, so let's run this now. We are using find and we have what, two petits, and we are looking for all the petits in this array. Okay, so let's say const get user, users dot find user, user dot name equals to what, petit. So now let's also log return user and see what is going to happen. Oh, sorry. Okay, so Yeah, we can run this now. Commented on the finding there, so it was not seeing it. So let's run this now. So you can see what I'm saying. It's returned what the first petit it can find in our what in our array of what objects. So you can see that here it's omitted what this second petit here, like, and just returned only one. So when I was talking about the truthy value, dot find returns the first truthy value. Now, if it's going through this array and it finds like 20 petits, it only returns the first one it sees and what omits the rest. So this is where what our filter method what comes in. So if you're looking for an item, right, that cause you're very sure, let's say you're searching through a school record, and you know that you're searching for a school record, there's high possibility that there are people that are appearing, like there are thousands of people, or let's say 20 people who have same name, right, in a department. Or you have, let's say primary school, you can have two people or three people bearing the same name, right? Something like a name like Emmanuel that is very popular. Yeah, you can have like three or four people bearing that name in a school. So dot find will only give you the first person that it finds in that school. That is where filter method what comes in. So the find method looks for a singular first element that makes the function return what's true. So once the function returns true, it returns that value for you. If there may be many, we can use what the array filter. So this syntax is similar to what the syntax is similar to what they find, but filter returns an array of all matching what elements. So now filter method returns what an array of all matching elements. Why find returns the first truthy value in what in an array. So what do I mean? Now we have find petit here, right? And now we want to filter. So so here we are doing what? Filtering, filter users. Okay. So here we are going to say users dot filter. So it's still the same what method, which is having a callback, right? But here this one returns what? An array. Okay. So let's run this and see. So we have this return user. So let's say console.log. So here we are going to call this filtered users. Okay. So let's see what the filtered users is going to return for us. So we have filter users. And so don't forget to add your comma in your console login. So here, if I should run this, now you can see that here we have two functions, right? We are having the find method, which is returning what? Just this object for us in our console, right? And then we have the filter method, which returns what? An array, right? An array of what? Objects, right? So here now, let's say after filtering this stuff, we can still use what? The find method. Okay. So now here we can still use what? The find method here. So now we want to filter all the users and get the users whose age is what? When I say we can use an array method, right? Instead of an array method. So we can here filter users whose name are this, whose name are equals to join. Then we want to find a particular user. The user we are looking for is const user age. Let's say user age 25. Okay, you want to get the user whose age is what? 20. Do you have that here? Yeah, whose age is 25. So now we can now do that with what? Filtered users dot find. Okay. Here now we can now find the user. Okay. Dot find user. So here we are going to say user dot what age equals to what 25. So now if we console log console dot log user age 25. So here we can say user age 25. Okay. So we can see how different array methods would play their role and how we can use them interchangeably, right? So now if I should console log this, right? Now what we did here is now we use the find method. We are looking for this find method now is returning only one, which is the first root value. But now using the filter method, we are able to find all the users whose names who has the name what? Petite, right? Now, since we already have all the users whose name are what? Petite, we want to find all the users whose name, like, now the users that are bearing Petite and their name is what? And their age is, and they are of what? 25-year old. Or even we can even add their date of birth and want to find the user whose name are Petite and they were born on 1st of October. So if we add date or like age or date of birth here, DOB, we can still use them to do what? Filter. So this is how most filter methods that you've seen on websites, this is how they work, right? You can filter, let's say you have a filter field, like most of the e-commerce we see, you can filter by price. Let's say when you select, you filter by category, right? Once it gets you that category, the next thing is you start filtering by price, right? By, let's say, price range, right? It brings out that price range. So this is what they used to do it. Okay, so you can use what? Array dot find and use array dot filter depending on what you want to achieve. Okay, so yeah, I think yeah, this is what they did here. So you can see return array of first two what users. So you can see that here dot. Now you're seeing that here it's not just limited to what only equals sign. Okay, it's not just limited to what only equals sign, right? You can still do other things. You can check, you can return for users whose age, right, are what. Now let's say here that I want to filter by age. So I can say array.filter user dot age. So I want to filter users whose age is less than or equal to what 25. So we are going to see what different results. Let's not forget that this is just user age that we call this. So let me clear our terminal and run this code again. So you can see that here, give us what? Only one user. Right? Only one user. Okay. So let's try this one. So let's test this and see. Okay. You can see that it gave us what? None of the user. There is no user that is what? That is age is what? Greater than 25. So let's check for less. So let's say less than 25 and see if we can get users whose their age are. So you can see we have how many users we have the user. So now I want to check, we can add equal to here, right? To check if we can get the user whose age is less than that. So depending on what we really want to achieve, we can, okay, so you can see here, we have someone whose age is age 20, and we have another whose age is age 25, right? So it depends on what we really want to achieve, right? We can use all these method interchangeably. Okay. So you see that here they are looking for what dot length. So array dot length is just to get the length of the array. Okay. So here you can see that the length is giving us what two, but we are actually having like one, two, three. So if you're adding dot length and you want to get the actual length, you can just put plus one, two, plus one, because just like I said earlier, arrays take only, they start counting from zero, one, two, that way. So here now it's saying what two is going to give you a length of two. But if you want to get the normal counts here, that's using starting from number one. So you just have to put plus one. Simple as that, plus one. Okay. So I will advise us, for us to get the best out of each of these lectures, we always have to go back on our own and try these things out. It might be sounding a bit funny for us due to maybe this is the first in contact of array or how to, or array manipulations and all that. But if we can on our own go through most of these things by ourselves, then we'll be able to get the best out of it. Okay, so how do you do this? Now, the best way to do this is you come to javascript.info, you see the first example, you copy it, you go to your Visual Studio Code, right? You paste it, you try it out on your own, you console log and you see what it's giving you. Okay, this is what this thing is returning. You can comment on one thing or the other and see what is returning to you. See, let's say I comment on this, right? And I run this code. Yeah. So our class is about, this is where we are ending today. So I'm just kind of want to show us how we can be. I know most of us are always scared when we see errors, right? But I just want to use this just to close today's class. So in case you're running a code and you find out that, yeah, this code is breaking, I see all this long line, there's no need for you to kind of start running away or say, what's this. No, what's the best thing to do? Read through these things. These are a set of instructions, right? Computer, everything that has to do with computer programming, like, in fact, computer in general is just what set of instructions. If you're able to kind of read an instruction and get hold of what that instruction is telling you to do, then you'll be able to scale through. So when you see something like this, what you have to do is calm down, look at this thing from the first line. Now, this is telling you that this is array.js and it's in what, line 77. Most times it can be wrong. It might not tell you the actual place. Right? Sometimes it's right, like now it's right. Let's see. So this is like what, 77, and we are console logging what, get user. You can see console.log get user. Now, if you come down again, reference error, get user is what, not defined, which means you didn't define get user anywhere. So what you have to do is trace this thing down and see. Right now, this is the get user. I commented on it. So what do I have to do? I uncomment on this, then I run it again. If you're having any error, you read it carefully. You'll be able to see what the error is saying and you'll be able to fix it. If you don't know how to fix it, you can copy this, paste it on your Google, and ask Google, how can I solve this? Or we have ChatGPT and the rest, other AI tools. You can ask them how you can fix that error. It will help you. Or you can drop it on our WhatsApp channel. Yeah, the instructors are there. They will help you to solve these errors. Okay. So this is where we are going to be ending our class for today. For time being, this is where we are going to be ending our class for today. So we don't um get ourselves too much with so many things on our head. So I want us to go study the find method, the filter method, and use them interchangeably. You can create like a store data. You can think about anything, create a data that has to do with store, right? Can create a data that has to do with store, right? Or stocks. Yeah, you can create a stocks data or a stocks array. You can have different stocks name and all that. You can even make it if you want to make it a bit complex and still try your hands work on things. Like you can have an object, an array inside of an array, and an object inside like array of objects. Then you have an array inside that object, and you now have another object. Stuff like that. You can try them out and like try your hands out. Make get your hands dating. That's it. Like you try coding every day. That's how you progress. Okay. Yeah. Thanks everyone for attending today's class. Please, if you have any question, don't forget to drop it on our WhatsApp channel, or you can as well comment it on this tutorial. We will attend to it as well. So please don't forget to like and share as well, and um your recommendations too. Or you can still tell us what we are not doing well and things we are doing well, things you want us to improve on. Yeah, and we'll still do that. Yeah. Thanks a lot for hanging out and staying to this moment. Okay. Yeah, thanks once again for staying down to this moment. Yeah. Wish us all a wonderful night ahead, a beautiful night rest. Right. Thank you.